Hi everyone, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Mata Di. Welcome to my YouTube channel Merchant Navy Decoded. And today I have got a voracious reader, someone who reads every day, who's ready to write. Captain Shaukat Mukherjee, who's the author of two books. Sorry for my knowledge. One book is Behind the Tricolor, where he has done research on 75 nationalist people who died for our nation, but they were never covered. People did not know about that. Then he was the first person to write a book on maritime leadership called Mind Over Water. So yes, he's an author. He is a voracious leader. 3 years back, he started his own company called Naval Connection. So entrepreneurship, I asked him. He told that he did his first event management when he was 14 years old. He was already doing business when he was a third officer. So we are going to talk about that his entrepreneurship journey. We'll talk about what is Naval Connection doing today. And then, but before that, we need to know that he started as a Volumes cadet in 1993. 10 years he sailed with them at Volumes. Then he joined Great Eastern. 7 ships he did. He got his command there. Then he joined Pratibha Shipping Company. Later on, he moved on to his shore job with V Ships in 2011 with the Eastern Command heading the Kolkata region. And in 2013, he was in Mumbai. If you move from Kolkata to Mumbai, you mean that you're doing a great job. That is why Mumbai takes you in. I know that very well, sir. From region to the global level. So in Mumbai, till 2019, sir was heading, he was reporting to global heads and doing at a very good pace in V Ships. And then 2019, he started his own business. So this video, we're going to cover about his entrepreneurship journey, why he started that. And ये थर्ड ऑफिसर के टाइम से क्या बिजनेस एंड एज अ 14 year old what even management, how is such a good voracious leader. Let's just go into that, sir. So welcome Captain Shaukat Mukherjee sir, and a man with so many hats today. So sir, please, मेरा सर पहला क्वेश्चन है. I've already given a brief introduction to the audience out here. So my first question is, sir, 14 years old, you did your first event. Did you charge money for that or it was for free?
First of all, Rani, thank you so much for bringing me in here. It's really exciting, and आपका इतना शान है, इतना शौहरत है, and I'm very happy to be on your show. And yeah, so this is just I'm very excited to talk about my life as well. Yeah, 14 साल में मैं पहला event manage किया था. It was a cultural show, and we were having it in our club. And मैं वहाँ पे था. I had just gone there and I saw everybody, they're trying to celebrate something, and I got a few musicians together, worked with them, and उसमें, we I worked with the decorators for stage, light, sound, very exciting, and I got the musician, and one of the, बड़ा नाम था musical musician का. And when after I managed that show, and of course, that time money was there's money का कोई सवाल ही नहीं था. And but what I got, that satisfaction itself was a huge payment.
It's
So
not easy, sir, to arrange people at such gatherings. A huge round of applause, sir. But sir, now as a third officer, generally when I was a fourth engineer, sir, I was busy कि मुझे अब second year के exams देने, then I have to become a chief engineer. मैं इस rat race में था. ये entrepreneurship का कीड़ा तब भी आपको काटा हुआ था. What was the reason and what were you doing that time?
that's a good question, Pranit. It runs a little bit deep. Even now, when I see seafarers, and I have most of the time, I have 10,000 seafarers always following me at any point of time while I speak. And even now, when I talk to a lot of seafarers, and I've been telling them all throughout my career that, with due regards to many others like me who do something while they are on leave, I see a lot of seafarers not doing anything जब वो जहाज से किनारे में आते हैं.
Agree.
And I always tell them, it's, and when I ask them, they said that काम तो जहाज में करता हूँ सर, अभी भी काम करूँ. But work doesn't end when you're on the ship. When you're on the ship, you're doing the work for yourself and your family and your company to earn money on ship as a mariner. But आप क्या कर रहे हो जब आप किनारे में हो? आप आपका life waste कर रहे हो. You're not building up your skills. You're not sharpening your skills. You're not doing any additional learning. You are just, you just wait till your money finishes and you go back to the ship. So I realized very early in my life कि मुझे ऐसा नहीं बनना है. मुझे in fact, I worked 2 times more when I used to work 2 times more when I was ashore than I was on the ship. So I used to always build up, and then those things started very early when my ship used to go to the Suez Canal, and in Egypt I saw that they were selling papyrus paintings, and when I used to come, एक papyrus painting I used to see getting sold at 10,000 rupees, 12,000 rupees, और वहां पे मैं $1 में खरीदता था. So I used to buy them in bulk, 40, 50, 100 paintings मैं खरीद के लाता था, and I made a store out of it. We did exhibitions, and एक painting मैं वहां पे, I used to sell at 8,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees with a good frame and all. And that itself was so satisfying, being able to do business and selling art. So we made a company called the Naval Store, and हम लोग का एक छोटा सा manufacturing unit था. We used to make artifacts related to ships. छोटा छोटा जहाज बनाते थे हम लोग. Papyrus paintings था. I used to make t-shirts. I used to make caps. I used to make कुछ भी, giving a maritime blend. It was a very exciting thing. So yeah. So my business started first when I was on the ship as a third officer, and of course
Sir,
later
I
on.
am hiding my face behind out of embarrassment कि आइडिया मेरे दिमाग में क्यों नहीं है, बिकॉज आई बीन टू स्विस so many time, और वो लोग एलिवे पे पूरा अपना सारा लगा देते हैं चीजें. आई होप ये आइडिया देख के बहुत लोग बिजनेस स्टार्ट करेंगे ये वाला. Okay, so
Yeah.
sir, so you became a captain, life was going fine. Then why shore job? Was it family का thing कि चलो नहीं अब shore job करते हैं, या you wanted to try something different?
See, there were two things to it. One is, both my family, both my wife as well as me were working, and my wife has an illustrious career ashore, and she's not a part of the merchant navy, but yeah, she's got a ambitious career ashore, and as a HR, and I was working on the ship, so I felt a guilt that when my child was born, I felt a guilt that यार हम लोग दोनों कैसे बाहर रहेंगे. So in order to achieve a balance, I was wanting to shift ashore, and I knew if I could upgrade myself to suit the requirements of a shore-based job, I could do it. So that was one of the reasons. That was not the full reason. The other reason is, yeah, cadetship से master and captain बन गया, आप जहाज चला रहे हो, उसके बाद क्या? And I always ask this question when I wake up every day, even now, what next? I have also written an article. I'm writing from the time I'm very young, and I have written thousands of blogs. And so I had written one article called What Next? And ये जो सवाल हम लोग का जब बंद हो जाता ना, when we stop asking these questions to ourselves, saying what next, फिर आदमी वो stand still हो जाता है. So this what next has propelled me to come back ashore and challenge myself. It's a huge challenge to come ashore. And मैं 2 साल के लिए जहाज छोड़ दिया था. In fact, I had launched a totally different thing. I had launched Eastern India's first magazine on interior designing and lifestyle. It was called Home Plan and Lifestyle. And we came out with, and it was supposed to be जो आदमी लोग देखे थे. So I used to do events, global events in real estate, and get all the architects and interior designers one platform. And we launched because there was no magazine of that sort. And मुझे एक चीज बहुत अट्रैक्ट करता है, always, even now, जो चीज ऑलरेडी हो चुका है, मुझे कोई इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं होता है. आई ऑलवेज ट्राई टू डू थिंग्स विच हैव नॉट बीन डन बिफोर, और जिसमें समथिंग न्यू. Even now today when I do something, I look at it कि मैं how am I adding value to something that's not already been done. अगर मैं सेम चीज कर रहा हूं ना, तो उसमें कोई मजा नहीं है. So when I came ashore, and then of course that I thought I should go back to sea and complete my masters, and that was my chief officer time. So I went back to sea, and then of course came back. And आपको एक चीज पता नहीं होगा, and I'm very proud of that thing. So I have done everything twice, but most of the thing I've done once. I mean, big things in life, जैसे marriage, I've only done once, not everything. But I was a commerce student. मैं 11-12 commerce किया था, and my uncle was a chief engineer, and very senior chief engineer in volumes. In one of the time, Wilco का meetings हम लोग का घर में होता था. And so one day we were sitting, and he said, यार मैं इतना साल से chief engineer हूँ अब, and that time it was direct entry cadet. तो आप लोग कोई भी जहाज में नहीं गए हो. And I said, and I asked him, क्या करोगे सर, क्या करना है जहाज में जा रहे हैं? बट तेरा तो होगा नहीं, बिकॉज तूने साइंस नहीं लेके पढ़ा गया. I said, सर होता क्या, बताओ तो सही. बोले साइंस लेके पढ़ना पड़ता है. I said, no problem. So at that time, I wanted to become a chartered accountant. So when I passed out class 12, I was doing my honors in cost accountancy, and I did my 11-12 again in science. And when I finished my first part 1 in graduation in honors, I finished my 11-12, and I stood, I think, I ranked in that exam. So and 11-12 my science वापस किया, and then I joined ships and joined volumes. Then I came back. I wanted to do an MBA, but I didn't want to do an online MBA, because मैं believe करता हूँ कि if you want to do something, you have to learn. अभी if it doesn't add value to your life, then it's better not do it. So मैं MBA किया था जब, it was a 2 years MBA program from Tasmania University, and 1 year you had to completely do full classes. तो मैं जहाज से आके एक साल break लिया, and 1 year I did full class, and the next year I could go back on the ship and give exams. So I always believe that, if you don't do something which enhances your learning in actual learning, certificate तो खाली टांगने के लिए होता है, दीवार में. But मेरा learning क्या होगा? If I cannot take anything in my learning, then certificate का कोई use ही नहीं है. So I have always, I was just telling you, I've always believed that my father used to tell me that everything will fail you, but education will not. So abhi bhi I have a budget which is allocated in yearly budget, which I will spend on myself. I have two budgets in yearly, Pranit. I keep one budget where for social causes where I do charity, and whatever it is, it's not a big amount, but it is. I keep that money separately कि कहीं पे भी I do, and one budget I keep for myself, that मुझे इतना पैसा खर्चा करने के अपने आप के ऊपर. So whether it's new learning, new skills, new development, and I spent, so 1 year back I did a course from Harvard online platform. Harvard का एक online platform है Harvard X बोल के. So I did a course on leaders of learning, and it was a very extensive course. And उससे पहले मैं when the pandemic had hit, I did a course, a master's class for 8 months on virtual education, trained the trainers, and I launched a very nice master class on called Create Your Extra. Create Your Extra is energy, excitement, trust, rapport, and activity. So how do you create energy, excitement, trust, rapport, and activity in your online classes? So I ran that program. It was in coalition with Indian Registrar of Shipping. I ran that program for 1 year. Probably all the trainers in the maritime industry, they participated in that. It was a 3-day workshop online. So train the trainers on virtual classes. So yeah, this is how I gain knowledge, and I always want to give it back.
Sir, thank you very much for sharing this thing. Even मेरे भी goosebumps हो रहे हैं कि मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ जिंदगी में. But again, coming back. So 2011.
आप जो कर रहे हो, आप भी जो कर रहे हो, यूनिक है. जो आदमी लोग नहीं करता है आपको देख के, वो they will be inspired also. So congratulations to you as well.
Right. So 2011, sir, you joined V-Ships. So what was the first transition that you say? What were the challenges that you faced when you shifted from ship to shore?
See, I had shifted in 2009. 2009, I stopped sailing. 2009 to 2011, I was a consultant working as a trainer, on-board trainer, as well as doing quality audits, internal audits. मैंने बहुत काम किया वो 2 साल में. मैंने एक टीम बनाया था, and that time Indian government was spending a lot of money in doing inland waterway transport. तो मैंने क्या कर रहा था, हुगली रिवर में जितना भी बार्जेस है उसका सी ट्रायल करते थे हम लोग. So I used to get chief engineers, and I had a team of chief engineers who used to board these barges and do sea trials for these barges on the Hooghly River. There was suddenly, in 2009, I'll tell you, suddenly I got a call. That 2 years I did my own consultancy. I got a call from a cruise line called Louis Cruises, and they had a huge cruise line on the river Hooghly, Ganga, and that कलकत्ता से, बिहार से, and बनारस जाता था वो cruise line, and that was a 5-star cruise. And I went there. I spent 2 days on that cruise as a consultant. सब कुछ foreigners थे, and all the passenger foreigners. The ship was bought from Irivadi, from Burma, and everything was foreigner. Only what was Indian are the people who were running it, and so it was a huge experience for me to give consulting, to them. And so these are the things which I did for 2 years.
So then
So when
why
I
did you shift to shore? Matlab, you did something of your own, then why did you shift again to a job thing with V-Ships?
See, I was based in Calcutta. In Calcutta, you can only do that much. It's not like Mumbai. You can only do that much. So at the end of the day, there are a few companies in Calcutta only, and so I know Captain Tandon, and somebody who I really admire and somebody who I really respect, and he's still a mentor to me. And he called me one day and said, we need somebody in Calcutta branch in V-Ships. And that time, I was doing events in Calcutta also. मैं जब 2011 March में मैंने एक event किया था कलकत्ता में, which is called International Maritime Symposium, IMS. और जब मैं आदमी लोग को बोला था, so that became a challenge. कलकत्ता में क्या event करोगे यार? It'll never be successful. And I came to Mumbai, and I remember in those days I came in the month of August, and Mumbai में काफी पानी जमता था. And in one day, I used to do 15 to 20 presentations. And I went back and I had 55 companies coming to Calcutta. And it was one of, even now, it is considered to be one of the greatest events. So 55 companies took part in Calcutta. So that time, Captain Tandon called me and said, and I had a friend who was the training manager he's still a very good friend, Captain Pankaj Nayak. So these two people, and Captain Tandon offered me this job and I took it because when I joined V-Ships, I had already got two offers from other companies, which double the compensation, of course. But I chose because I've always felt that brand goes above everybody else, and I joined V-Ships and I've never looked back. Next 10 years, I was in V-Ships, and yeah, so that was the start of a new story.
Great. So you were as a crew, you were heading the crewing office of in the Kolkata region. So what was the one thing that worked in your favor that helped you gain many? I could see your LinkedIn resume that you did a fabulous job over there in the eastern region, and that is why you were called to Mumbai. So what was that one thing you were doing really right that other people who are in the managing department should learn from or should notice at least?
See, Pranit, I think the best thing that worked for me and still works for me is human relationship. I develop human relationships. I'm very close. My only objective in life is to build relationships. And when I joined V-Ships, I understood that seafarers need relationships to be built on. आप एक बंदे को ऑफिस में बुलाओगे, and if I'm not interested in him joining my company. I'm interested in him giving him the best that he deserves and that what he asks. So over time, what happened, I built that trust. Because at the end of the day, it's about, even when you're selling something, even when you're trying to sell something, आप अगर मेरे को कुछ बेचोगे with the intention of just earning money or just, I will never buy from you, or I will buy for you only one time and then I'll never go back to you. But if you tell me that, you are giving me something that I need and I really trust you, then they will be your lifelong contacts and lifelong relationship. I've never treated a seafarer like a commodity. And this is what I have tried to. Seafarer is not a commodity. When I was writing my book, Mind Over Water, I will give you the book. On the first page, I wanted to write, seafarer is the most valuable asset. Seafarer is not an asset. People make a mistake. When you're saying an asset, you are investing in something, you want it back. Seafarer is not a gold coin. The moment you are saying seafarer is an asset, you're making it into a commodity. So I feel we are human beings. We should treat each other like human beings. And when I treat a person like a human being, I expect him or her to treat me like a human being. It doesn't become a commodity. So, in fact, I have my wife is a working HR for 22 years, but I have a great problem with the word human resource. Because the moment you say resource, then it becomes like, what is a resource? The oil is a resource. Coal is a resource. But seafarer is not a resource, yeah. I mean, seafarer, human capital is not even human capital. So if given the chance, I do campaign for the change of word from human resource to human relationships. The moment you say relationship, things changes. And I have seen there is nothing about making human relationships. I have developed human relationships, and I have had people saying, sir, even now, I remember last month, even now my electrical officer has sent me his appraisal report from the ship, and he has told me, sir, ये आप ही के लिए है. I said, यार मैं तो electrical officer नहीं हूँ, आप कैसे बोल रहे हो मेरे लिए है? बोले नहीं सर, आप ही मुझे इस कंपनी में लाए थे, and आप ही के लिए मैं. So it gives me great pleasure, यही है मेरा. So my only thing is about people ki develop human relationships, and I know there are a lot of people in the industry who people come ऐसा आप कहीं देखो सर मैं आपके लिए join किया हूँ, and that is the bond. So let's create bonds, let's not create just relationships where it's only about joining and coming down. A lot of people, I feel that they have been talking to the seafarer and they forget. But I have seen other hands on people who are so close to seafarer, they will, even though they have left the company, क्या problem है यार, मेरा company में काम नहीं कर रहा, नहीं काम कर रहा है, but then that is a relationship which I have. So I have gone out of my way to, not because I have intention of them joining my company, no, I've gone out of my way to genuinely help people. The genuinity has to be there, otherwise कोई काम नहीं है काम करने का.
Understood, sir. So thank you very much. I learned this new word, not human resources, but human relations. So चलिए अब बात करते हैं 2020 आ गया and the naval connection is born. So first of all, I
Yeah.
would love to know what is this naval connection? What are you doing? What have you done, achieved in this last 3 years? And what were the challenges you faced while starting something of your own once again?
Yeah, see, the challenges were many. Even today, every day I wake up, there's a challenge. But then my excitement is that, the brand building has happened for the last 25 years that I've been there. So people associate Naval Connection with me now. And when I say I'm a brand, it doesn't sound right. It sounds like, Shah Rukh Khan is talking. But then when I go on the stage and I say, "Yeah, my name is Captain Shaukat Mukherjee, naam to suna hoga." So people will resonate that, naam to suna hai. And my thing is that I want to reach out to people. I talk to people. I build relationships, and so the challenge was to build a company and do things, smaller things, bigger things. Even today, we do a lot of things. We are working with over 120 companies. We don't have funding outside. Whatever I earn, we earn from the business. We put back to the business. But the thing is that we want to do new things. So when I started off in 2019, I left V-Ship, started on my own. I had a CEO contract in another company, and that finished in 2020. 2020 pandemic hit, and we had a big office and we are doing everything physically. And I thought I'm gone, I'm finished. मुझे लगा कि ये तो मैं तो खत्म. But again, the people who will feel they are khatam, they will also know that there is no going down further down. It's only thing you can go up is go up. So I have a huge kind of willpower or things to say that, and this is something which is homegrown in the sense I've cultivated it. मुझे failure और ज़्यादा motivate करता है, because being in sales, I am used to hearing no. But the moment you tell me no, I get another kind of boost to tell me, यार ये no बोल रहा है, no को yes करना है.
Yeah.
And that is what keeps me moving all the time. And मुझे आप कभी भी fail करके हरा नहीं पाओगे. अब जितना बार मैं fail करूंगा, उतना बार मैं वापस आऊंगा. So you cannot, I never give up. I will not give up. And failure is something which is a part of my life, and it should be a part of everybody's life. अगर कोई आदमी बोलेगा, कोई लड़की बोलेगा, कोई औरत बोलेगा आपको कि मैं fail नहीं करता हूं, then that's not human. So everybody has failed and will fail. So I take failure as a part of success. So if I don't fail, in fact कभी कुछ आसानी से आ जाता है तो I question कि ऐसा कैसे हो गया.
मेरे साथ ऐसा नहीं होता. मुझे तो हर चीज मेहनत करके मिलती है.
Yeah, absolutely. आप भी मेहनत करते हो, and everybody, all of us. So failure has been a part of this. I have failed many times, and every time I build up new relationship, new things. Off in 2020, and when I thought that everything khatam ho gaya, I again went back to my thumb rule. Invest in yourself. So I invested in myself, and I did my first course from Harvard. It took me 8 months course to Leaders of Learning from Harvard, and I started an online training program where we trained 4,000 in 2 years' time. We trained 4,000 seafarers, giving them what they want. I had seafarers calling me and crying over the phone. हम लोग का एक course था, which is called Cargo Calculation of Tankers. These courses are not generally taught in schools and maritime colleges. And ये बेचारे को second officer था, उसको बेचारे को promotion मिला था and become a chief engineer, chief officer, and he was not very sure about cargo calculation. He called me at 12 o'clock and he was crying. बोले सर आप वीडियो दे दो, जितना भी पैसा आप मांगो मैं आपको दे दूंगा, आप खाली वीडियो भेज दो. I said यार वीडियो नहीं भेज सकूंगा because we are in the process of making a LMS video out of that. मैं ऐसा raw video आपको नहीं भेज सकता हूँ. But these are the pain points of the seafarers we touched. कार्गो कोर्स अभी भी आज भी अदर देन maybe 1 or 2 कंपनीज, आप ROR सिखाने के लिए कोई कोर्स नहीं है. So we have a ROR, rule of the road course, collision avoidance course, which took me 1 year to build. अभी भी आप जाओ, कोई भी आप चीफ इंजीनियर देखो, lot of ships don't have chief engineers, electrical officers. And we understood that reading electrical diagrams for chief engineer was a pain. So we have a course called reading electrical diagrams. छोटा छोटा कोर्स है, 2-3 घंटे का कोर्स है, वर्कशॉप्स, बट very hard pressed, focused, targeted workshops. And we used to get, like I said, 200-300 people in a batch. So we've trained 4,500 maybe as per our records in last 2 years. And that was the point where we got the momentum. We thought, yeah, we could do it. And that was the revival. And then we went into social media management. We studied. I did my master's for 1 year. I studied and did my master's in, because I believe, if I don't know something, I don't deserve to start something. मुझे जानना है ना, otherwise मैं खुद नहीं जानूंगा तो मैं करूंगा क्या? So I did my masters. I did total 25 courses abhi now in social media. So, and then we started a vertical called social media. And even now today, we are perhaps the only ones in media. We are doing social media management for shipping companies, associations. FOSMA का हम लोग last 3-4 साल से कर रहे हैं. Maritime Union of India we are doing MSC Cruises. We are doing Blue Shields. We are doing a lot of other companies, and so वो एक vertical है. Another vertical for doing focused marketing events where we bring people from all over the world together. So we had 5 or 6 of our own brands where we have more than 1.5 lakh viewers online when we do events. Pandemic mein jab everything failed, we sat in one room, and we did events, and we had our own artificial intelligence 360-degree platform for doing online events. And पर पूरा दुनिया सो रहा था because they couldn't come and सो रहा था in the sense confined in their homes. But we came out, we came to office and we did online events, and Alaska se bhi aadmi log tuned in, 40 countries. I've clocked 40 countries in our online events. And we didn't know how our link reached Alaska, but we were very proud. 1.5 lakh viewership online, So that is how we reach out to people. We reach out to people through our engagements,
So talking about innovations, see, you are learning. There are 2 great innovations that Naval Connection has done. Can you please tell us about that?
Yeah, so one of the innovative things that we learned is, in the pandemic only, we launched something called the C-Link. That was we say India's, but I think it's globally one of the only ones online audiovisual magazine. And we lost a lot of money in that because, we ended up getting training. We ended up doing annual contracts with all the training companies. C-Link was supposed to be an educational training magazine online. So when you flip the pages, instead of reading, because we understood, through our research, आजकल आदमी लोग पढ़ता नहीं है. Nobody reads. You give a 3-page PDF to a person, 1% of the people will not read. And I'm not saying good or bad, but that's how the things have changed. People don't read nowadays, but people follow magazine, follow reels. That's how Instagram reels got. And I'm not here to say good or bad or correct, incorrect, but that's how the thing is. So in fact, our Instagram girls who do Instagram, for us, then say, sir, 11 baje Instagram reel post karunga, usse pehle nahi, because aadmi log sote hue, and when wives and husbands sleep, and they look at Instagram reels, and that Instagram reels cannot be more than 7 seconds, because 7 seconds if I cannot get your attention on the videos, you'll lose. I've lost the video. So these are the things which have changed. So keeping those in mind, we launched online magazine where it's an audio-visual magazine. So once you flip the pages, आपके साथ ये जो मेरा हो रहा है, podcast हो रहा है, and we are talking, इसका videos, instead of studying it, we'll put it on the one of the page of the magazine, and so that is a huge innovation. But unfortunately, when we launched it, we have our own servers. We have invested a lot of money. We have our own servers for this magazine. When we have launched it, and this technology for audio visual, it happens in very layers, so ek layer aata hai, uska layer aata hai, uska layer
definitely go through this magazine, sir. I have to
fantastic. I will give you the link. We just do.
I will also put it in. I will put the links of the books that you have talked about. People really need to know about this innovations that you have done. Also, the website links in the description box as well in the comment section.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. एक और innovation Manu था, in the pandemic, there was one Japanese client who had come over, and I had given them the visiting card. He said, "This is my visiting," and he said he refused to take my visiting card because it was COVID times, and I came back home and I didn't sleep that night. I said, "Yeah, visiting card nahi liya," and that is an opportunity for me. So next day I had a meeting with my tech team. And next they said we have to do something, and we sort of launched a program called the iConnect, and iConnect digital visiting card, and we opened up an office in London also, and we had a partner in London, and we opened up an office in London. We had an iConnect London and iConnect India, and of course London office is closed now, but we sold a lot of cards to Berkeley, and it's a one-stop digital card, visiting card, where all your profiles will be one single single click of your finger.
Sir, can you share the link? I will be putting in the, and I want to go through that myself.
Yes.
Please, please.
I will show it to you and I'll give you the link. And it became so famous कि मैं कोई office में घुसता था and people used to ask for my card. I said, don't worry. I used to give them and they used to open and say, यार, I want, मुझे चाहिए, अभी चाहिए.
मुझे भी
And
चाहिए सर.
I will make one for you. That will be my gift to you.
सर
Ranjit.
पहले आप मुझे भी दिखाइए एक बार कैसा है. I am intrigued right now. I cannot wait for that long. Okay, sir, coming
Okay.
back to after
Yeah.
this innovations, let's talk about the two wonderful books that you have written. Now, how much time did it take you to write Mind Over Water, that is about maritime leadership, and why did you write this book?
See, I have always been a great follower of leadership because when I was growing up, like I said, I told you, I love to say stories and I love to follow the life stories of people who have been successful. So it intrigues me, how people become successful. Because, life is unfair. I always believe life में आपका सामने में आपका ही क्वालिफिकेशन का आदमी बैठा रहेगा, आपका ही सब, and then maybe आपसे बहुत कम क्वालिफिकेशन है लेकिन he is more successful than you. So we always tend to कि मेरा क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, but success is a different ball game. Being आप जो भी हो, आपका जितना भी क्वालिफिकेशन हो, you can be a double doctorate, and success is a relative thing. You might think you're successful, but then सक्सेस को किसको क्या कभी कैसे मिलता है, and that's so it's a different ball game. So I used to read the life stories of people who are successful, right from politicians to people who have made, who are wealthy people who made money, and so leadership intrigued me. Leadership क्या है? How do you get people together? Team dynamics होता है and then I started reading about group dynamics. Group dynamics में is a wonderful thing. आप देखो कभी रास्ते में प्रॉब्लम होता है तो सब पत्थर मारते हैं एक साथ, and somebody starts throwing stones at everybody, and everybody starts throwing stones. But घर में वो लोग violent नहीं है. घर में each and every individual, when you go back to, they are not violent people, but when the mob violence happens, everybody becomes violent. So that's group dynamics. So how you behave as a group is different from how you behave as individuals. So this sort of intrigued me कि group dynamics क्या है. So this led me to a thorough months I studied on group dynamics, group behavior. Then I studied about individual leadership traits, and then I found out कि हम लोग का industry में in maritime there's nothing about leadership. And then that sort of fueled me to write Mind Over Water. And Mind Over Water is a compilation of leadership which traits, different kinds of leaderships which you can use in maritime industry. It has got over 42 games which are all copyright. These are all my own games which I made to suit the maritime people, and I've done over 200 of these workshops, leadership workshops, management workshops, communication workshops. And if you I'll give you my book also. You can go through these copyright games. They are played by, so this book sold about 4,500 copies. The foreword was written by Captain Tandon, and he's been the chairman of IMEC also. And when I gave the book, I had a meeting with Captain JC Anand. You must have heard of him. Captain JC Anand, I had a meeting with him, and he went through the book and he called me for breakfast. 8 o'clock I was there, and he was there in the suit and all. He was 95, 96 years old that time. Now he's 103. And he came and he had read my book, and he gave me something. He says, this is going to go a long way. And I have put that his recommendation of the book at the end. So Captain JC Anand, Captain Tandon, these doyens have all accepted the book. This book went on to be taken by 75 companies in their ships, and 4,500 copies all around India, Sri Lanka, Singapore, Philippines. So I'm very proud. And people came back and said that, sir, मैंने वो book का जो games है, we have played on board. What happens is पहले का, अभी तो we don't have liquor on ships, but pehle ka you had liquor on ships. And again, I'm not commenting good or bad, but people in parties, what do they do in parties on the ships? You don't have liquor on ships. क्या करते हो आप? Parties क्या होता है? Parties होता ही नहीं है. This is where you play these games, and these are fantastic games built for the ships to be played on board, which will increase teamwork, camaraderie, communication. And people have played those games. Thousands of people, thousands of seafarers. मतलब आप feedback में, I was flooded with feedback. People, even now, people say, I have played this game on board the ship. It's a Mind Over Water game, So that was my first book. it took me 4 years to write Mind Over Water. And I always say this, very foolish of me, but I lost 1.5 years because when I wrote the first 10 chapters of the book, and I was in one laptop, I had no backup. And I was coming back from office and I was walking. It was raining very hard and I was walking. मेरा पूरा laptop भीग गया, and they could not retrieve the data. So when I lost the data, I went back home and when I was crying, 1.5 years data I've lost. Then I remembered the scene from a Spider-Man book, Spider-Man movie. जब Spider-Man का एक सूट जो है तो वो खो जाता है, तो वो जाके ना आयरन मैन के पास जाता है. आयरन मैन के बोलता है आई कांट बी स्पाइडरमैन बिकॉज आई लॉस्ट माय सूट. एंड देन आयरन मैन टोल्ड हिम इफ यू आर नथिंग विदाउट अ सूट देन यू डू नॉट डिजर्व टू बी अ सुपर हीरो. सो ये बात ना मुझे है कि अगर जो बुक है तो मैंने लिखा है, वो तो मेरा दिमाग में है, अगर डेटा चला गया तो वापस लिखेंगे, प्रॉब्लम क्या है. तो आई स्टार्टेड राइटिंग एंड आई रोट द होल थिंग अगेन.
Wow.
So that's something that I'm
Sir,
also proud of.
Sir, from this wonderful session, I'm going to take a lot of moments of truth. One is that I'm going to take is what next.
What
Second,
next? Yes.
what next? Yes, very important. Second that I'm going to take is जहाज जी का सबसे बड़ा पाप है जब वो घर पे आके कुछ नहीं करता है. Second thing that I'm taking. Yes, sir. Important.
सब जहाजी नहीं,
काफी लोगों का पैसा खत्म तभी जहाज पे आएगा, अदरवाइज कुछ नहीं, ये सब नहीं, अदरवाइज. थर्ड थिंग दैट आई एम गोइंग टू टेक इज कि मुझे चैरिटी के लिए कुछ फिक्स हर साल और कुछ अपने लिए हर साल निकालना ही चाहिए. दिस इज द थर्ड थिंग दैट आई एम टेकिंग अलोंग. एंड फोर्थ थिंग इज डोंट गिव अप. डोंट गिव अप. वैसे आई एम अ फर्म बिलीवर इन दैट सर, बट विद दिस सर आई वांट टू से थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. आई एम ब्लेस्ड. आई एम मीटिंग यू फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम लाइक दिस. नेवर थॉट इट विल टर्न आउट टू बी सच अ ग्रेट कॉन्वर्सेशन. एंड अब मैं जब भी मुंबई आऊंगा तब मैं आपसे पक्का मिलूंगा.
Listen, आपको मिलना ही है, and we will continue this conversation. Thank you so much. Like I said, I love, one of my life's motto is to engage with people and do conversations. And thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really grateful to you.